Oh. Get a load of this. We got some remix banners here. Okay. All right, why don't we go ahead and take a look at those? So it is your boy here. We are back for another day of Fire Emblem Heroes content. And we have here the remixes for Legendary Micaiah and Legendary Fa on their banners. So why don't we take a look, see if these color shares are any good? Because in past months, they've actually done a pretty good job on these remix banners. So they are not the worst to summon on, depending on the color shares. But let's take a look at what we've got going on here. Okay, so of course we have the Legendary Micaiah herself, who got a really crappy upgraded passive there. Everyone thought they should have gave her a better A-slot passive, and I would agree with that. Like, Sly Mirror, I think, would have been a good call. Because it's only on Arcane Lilina right now, and it's a good skill, but it's not like a mandatory skill or anything like that. But it certainly would have fit Micaiah a lot better than Fury 4. Instead, they give her Times Pulse 4, which she really doesn't care for too much. I mean, you'd rather run the new skill from Rune, who has Times Pulse, and then it also does Ploy. So, like, that's just a better passive. I'm not impressed by this Micaiah's remix, to tell you the truth. Now, I have heard people say that she can actually take out units like Needhogger and a couple of other, like, really common far save units right now. Problem is, those are probably against base kit Needhogger and New Year Needhogger. And, of course, the effective against armor that Micaiah's got is going to be very good in those matchups. But if we're talking about Shield Fighter on Needhogger, then it starts to get a little bit not likely that this Micaiah is going to be able to bust through. So, I don't know what to make of this unit. I'm not very impressed by her remix, all things considered. Certainly not one of the better Micaiah units that we have in the game compared to her counterparts like the Bride Micaiah, who I think is still pretty good, and then also the Attune Micaiah, who's one of the best units. She is color sharing with, of course, her lovely Soth friend over here. So Soth is actually a pretty interesting arcane hero right now because of this, Potent Disarm. Who would have ever guessed this would all of a sudden become like one of the top DPS skills for these dagger types? So you give this to your dagger type, specifically Winter Shez, and then giving her Potent the ability to hit an extra time when she's already got Brave Attacking built in, and then she's effective against the entire game. Like, that is where we're starting to talk about some serious firepower. So she's capable of beating Shield Fighter armor types at that point, and that's obviously very good for where we are right now in the game. So this Soth is actually a pretty good color share for her, and it is also a very thematic choice to have Micaiah and Soth on the same banner. So colorless is not bad. Like, Micaiah, surprisingly, is the worst of the two pulls. All right, then on red, we've got Roy and Erica, which, oh boy, that is just awful. That is really bad. Oh, gosh. All right, then on blue, we've got Uller, who it kind of makes sense to bring Uller back now because we just recently got Bridget, and I believe she did pick up Potent on one of her passives. I think it's her B skill right here. Yeah, she does. She gets Potent 100%. So, pretty solid. If you've given her Brave Attack support from Katria or whoever, and then she's got, like, Emblem Lin Ring, and then she's got, like, Miracle support from somebody, then this unit can start cooking a little bit, maybe. Not a very long weapon, though. When you're talking about, like, top-tier DPS units and you're looking at the weapon description and it's one paragraph, doesn't even take up the entire screen. Like, for example, who would take up the entire screen? Let's take a look at a recent unit, like Lin. Look at this. Okay, it doesn't take up the entire screen, but it takes up a lot more than what our friend over here takes up, Uller. Okay, so she's on blue. She is color sharing with Note, who is a pretty solid unit overall. Not too shabby getting Pathfinder on defense teams, but there are better Pathfinder units right now. Specifically, the Aided Dagger, I think, is probably the best one. And then there's also, like, Wind Tribe Dagger and Mythic Dagger. Basically, all of the Dagger units. Even Duo Dagger is a better Pathfinder unit than this Note. But, I mean, she still has Pathfinder, which is fine. And then finally on green, we have Legendary Celica and also Legendary Hector, who, I mean, is that any better than the red pool? Probably a little bit, but not by much. So really the only color you should even consider here is colorless. And it's not even for Micaiah either. It's just to get Potent Disarm for your Winter Shez if you didn't already give it to her. Okay, then over here on Fa's banner, let's see if they played favorites with Fa. Because we already know Fa got a way better remix. She got a way better remix passive. Like, Dragon Scales is a pretty recent passive. Only came out this Halloween on the Dragon Halloween banner. So that's definitely good. And then also, her remix allows her to compete pretty well at the highest level, giving her the Miracle with the re-upping of Miracle, with the Reflect damage, with True DR on this special as well. More than once per map, again, which also a very significant buff for her. And she also just came hot off the heels of being a Forma unit. So I'm sure people, if you gambled on Fa, because her Forma, I think, was prior to her getting the remix, so we didn't know how good she was going to end up being. But if you did gamble on the Forma and you picked up some good stuff for her, then you won pretty well. So yeah, she's definitely looking good. She is color sharing with the Ascended Amelia. Interesting choice. Okay, I don't know if I would pair Amelia with Fa, but okay. Now, she is an Ascended hero, so if you haven't summoned her before, you'll get a Floret out of it. And then her fodder is, I mean, it was okay at the time. Like, Clever Fighter giving non-pierceable DR was pretty good at the time. Not so much right now when you could just run Shield Fighter, which gives you, like, triple the amount of non-pierceable DR that this would. So, yeah, that's... it's sad to say, but that's kind of just the state of where armored units are right now. Is just run Shield Fighter, pretty much. So, yeah, that's the case there. She does have good speed, though, so maybe you could build her in a way where she actually is able to outrun stuff and not get doubled. And that would be very good, of course, if she's got Shield Fighter, because then she's going to be harder to hit 4 times. Although, I think Clever Fighter also gives you, like, a frozen effect, too. Let me see here. Yeah, sort of. Not quite, but like sort of gives you a frozen effect. So Clever Fighter, I guess, is still okay, all things considered. Like, frozen effects are very good, but you might as well just run, like, if you really want the frozen effect, there's other units that can give it as a support, like Reed and Tibarn. Okay, then on red, we've got Plumeria here, and then we also have Mirabilis. Okay. Now, Plumeria is still one of the better offensive Mythic heroes, but I wouldn't bother summoning for any offensive Mythic hero on a banner like this unless the color share is both 2 offensive Mythic heroes, which I don't think the other banner had any. Yeah, no, none of the color shares over here are 2 offensive Mythic heroes, and it doesn't look like that's the case over here either, unfortunately. All right, then on green, we have Atri, who was okay with her refine. She actually got a solid enough one. And then Legendary Lyn, who is like just like 50 times worse than the Emblem one, so RIP. And then we have Air color sharing with Alm over here. So again, if they had understood the assignment and put Air with like Milla on this banner and they were color sharing, then it'd be like, okay, maybe you could consider going for the color share on colorless, because then you are getting offensive Mythic heroes, and I've said this before many times, and other YouTubers have said it before too. The only units worth plus 10ing anymore are the offensive Mythic heroes, because that's the only way you can reach max rank in Aether raids. So that's pretty much everything. Like, this banner, I think, is a skip. Amelia is not a good enough color share to warrant summoning over here. Soth is pretty valuable right now, but at the same time, like Micaiah, I don't really want to get copies of her. I don't even have a single copy of her, and I don't want to get a copy of her. That's how bad she is. So we'll go ahead and summon here. We'll hit colorless, and I guess just hope to get Soth. Okay, that is not Soth, but I will take the Pandreo, though. That is not bad. He does have some solid fodder. All right, let's go over here and do our freebie, and we'll hit... What are we going to go for? Well, I was going to go for blue to get Amelia, because I don't even have her. Would have definitely taken the Floret if I could have had the chance, but I guess we can go for red. Maybe get Plumeria. Okay, that is not Plumeria. All right, but that's pretty much how those freebies go. I think we also have other freebies to do, too. Yeah, we do. We actually have a couple. Okay, we might as well do these on camera, too. All right, so over here, I don't really care about anybody. I guess we'll go for red, because Catherine's refine is actually legit. Like, who would have thought Catherine, of all people, would have ended up getting a pretty solid refine, but she did. Okay, we didn't get her, though. We'll go over here now. We'll hit, I guess, red as well. Is that really what we want to do here? Red? Yeah, probably red. Mainly because Byleth has Ruptured Sky, which... I mean, I guess that could be okay, but there's better specials now. Remember when everyone wanted Lapis? I've gotten her at plus 10 already, and then I've gotten like a bunch of extra copies now, but it just goes to show how crazy the power creep is, where this unit was actually like highly sought after when she came out, and now what is she good for? Just absolutely nothing. Just like that song. All right, all my Rush Hour fans, where are you at? Okay, we'll go ahead and hit... What are we going to hit here? I don't really want anything. I guess, like, Nurgle. If we could off-focus pull Nurgle, that would be the best. But, nah, of course not. Okay, so there we go. We did our freebies. And, like I said, these banners are just both a skip, so don't even bother. Later today, I might do an AR showcase for defense again, but... Do people really care? I mean, look at this. We just... Another flawless season. It actually would have been better if I had done the showcase last season, because there was a very interesting defense replay where someone actually did manage to beat the team, and they beat it by player phasing. That was the very first player phase defensive loss I've had ever since I built this defense. So the guy who did that, he actually put on a pretty good show. So it's unfortunate that I was a little too busy to record last week, but I don't know if there's any point in... like, who the hell cares, right? Like, we got all these wins, who cares? How many times can I show off the same exact defense, right? So, there we go. That's pretty much all for today. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. If you're going to be summoning, then best of luck, I guess. But, really, like we said, this is the only unit of value on here, which is pretty unfortunate, but that's just how it is.